At the end of this year, we will be having our Scorpio Cup. That's right, you'll be spending your New Year's racing with your horses. Anyways, let's start off with the general information. This CM7 will be held in Tokyo 2000-meter turf, or in game, it's similar to the Tenosho Autumn Racetrack. The condition for this race course is left-handed, fall, rainy, and soft. This will be our first non-firm ground CM. What soft does is that it reduces your power by 50 on this race course. This race course is also pretty unique, such that it doesn't have any hidden stat boost, so you don't need to get multiple of 300s on any of these stats. Looking at the racetrack itself, this course starts with a corner, into a straight, with 250 meters downhill. The last spurt will start on the middle of the final corner. So yes, once again, the strongest acceleration skill for this map will be angling and skimming for the front runners, and also for late surger and closers, it will be let's pump some iron. Both of these skills will activate as soon as the last spurt hit. Also, since the last spurt starts approximately 100 meters from the final corner, acceleration skill that activates on the start of the final corner are also used. Even though you lose a bit of the duration, these skills will still last into the final spurt. The followings are the skill, which are Redshift from Marzenski, and Beyond the Other Side from Majuro Dober. Yes, Majuro Dober will also be released already for the CM. Her banner will be dropped near the CM start. When inherited, this acceleration skill will not last into the final spurt, so you definitely need to run the main OG Marzenski or Majuro Dober herself. Now, let's talk about Shooting for Victory, as it will be the most interesting acceleration skill. Shooting for Victory will activate about 10 meters after the final spurt start. So this skill will actually be one of the strongest acceleration skill just behind angling and skimming, and let's pump some iron. I also want to show you this comparison of the acceleration skill since I found it very interesting. This is Marusensky Unique compared to Taiki Shuttle's Unique. You can see that from the graph, Taiki Shuttle reaches the full spurt faster than Marusensky Unique. Here is another case. Obviously, angling and skimming and let's pump some iron is the strongest. If you run Sea Sky or Ryan itself, here you can see the comparison of Shooting for Victory to angling and skimming. It's about one length difference. Now you might ask, what if it's an inherited angling and skimming compared to Taiki Shooting for Victory? You can see here in the graph that Taiki's pure Shooting for Victory is still stronger than an inherited angling and skimming. What about inherited angling and skimming compared to Shooting for Victory inherit? Well, of course angling and skimming will win since it activates earlier, but it's about 0.5 difference in length, but still this is just a point to prove that Shooting for Victory will be a really strong acceleration skill for the Scorpio Cup. And with that, I'm expecting Taiki Shuttle to also be one of the more dominant runner again in this CM7. Even more the fact that Taiki Shuttle also has a scenario link with the Aoharu scenario, making the runs even easier. This might be the foreshadowing of a Taiki Shuttle Cup, now that CM6 is Golshi Cup. As always, you will always have gambling acceleration skills like On Your Left and No Stopping Me, which is really strong when they activate correctly. This time around, Straightaway Spurt doesn't activate on the course. So yes, I think End Closer is actually no better than Late Surger in terms of acceleration skill. Okay, let's talk about the stats requirement now. Obviously, for speed, just hit 1200 speed as usual, this is not negotiable. For the stamina, the general guideline is that you need to have around 700 to 750 stamina, plus 1 gold recovery, plus 400 guts. You can run the race course with like 800 stamina flat, but the buffer is just there due to the fact that this is a medium racetrack, and there will always be nice nature and stamina debuffers running wild. As for the Runaway Suzuka, if you want to run her as an ace, make that stamina 800 instead of 700. If your Runaway Suzuka spot struggles with another Runaway Suzuka, just say goodbye to your Suzuka because she will not be spurting. Even with Swinging Maestro and max stamina, the JP Umalator says that you only will full spurt about 80% of the time. And you are definitely not building a max out stam Suzuka for next CM. I also want to talk about a special case where you just run Saiyan Suzuka Great Escape or Frontrunners and just completely dodges the All-Seeing Eye debuff due to them being Frontrunners and being so further ahead from the late surgers that the All-Seeing Eye just misses. So, frontrunners actually might be able to even cut the gold recoveries. However, I will leave this up to you on however you want to interpret the stamina requirements. It is always up to you if you want to be riskier and put in more speed skills in exchange for the stamina recovery skills. I recommend having 900 power due to the track being soft and it reduces your power by a bit, but as always, if you cannot hit this, just try to get it above 600 as a baseline. As for guts, just leave it as it is, you will hit this regardless with Rico. For the width stats, the standard 400 for all the styles, 600 for front runners, but you will definitely hit way higher stats than this because we will be running the width maxing deck. And so we'll now discuss the deck build. The deck build for all the style is really straightforward. Yes, we are back to the width maxing, not that Libra Cup is over. Since we only roughly need 700 stamina, a couple of Stamina Spark and Rico can cover up this issue. And the rest of the cards will be 2 speed cards and 3 width card as per usual. The speeds card will be Kita-san and your SR speed card. If you are running a front runner, you can also use the Silent Suzuka SSR speed card as it will give you left-handed for the racetrack. For the width cards, you can literally fit anything, but the strongest will be Agnes Tachyon for the medium hands. Majora Arden if you're running a Pace Chaser is also really good because this card also have left-handed and Pace Chaser hints. Mihono Bourbon obviously if you are running frontrunner for taking the lead gold hints, and Fine Motion is also one of the better cards for the deck for the fall runners and Speed Star if you are running a Pace Chasers. Okay, I want to talk about the meta in the JPN Korean version first before I give my thoughts on how this meta will change due to our recent patch changes. First of all, in both the JP and Korean server, the strongest style is frontrunner. As we all know, angling and scheming activates at the earliest point of the spurt, and Summer Marcinski just being busted in both of the server just made it worse. Seiun Sky or Suzuka was to be paired with Summer Maru if you run front for the double front strategy. The second strongest style in both server is Space Chaser, mostly Taiki Shuttle. However, this was due to the case that Taiki Shuttle's unique worked the same as OG Maruzensky, it activated previously on the final corner and it carried over to the last spurt. However, this actually changed on our server and I will discuss this later on. As for the late and encloser, it was the least used style due to being on the weaker side. The most popular runner for late surger on the Korean server was Festival Gold City and Major Dober. Major Dober's unique also worked the same as Maruzensky and Old Taiki Shuttle, such that it carries over to the last spurt when activated on the final corner. As for the Festival Gold City, her unique is simply really strong because it has acceleration and bonus target speed when activated on the final corner. This will be different in our server though. Gold City unique was so good because before the first anniversary update, Uma doesn't spread on the final corner, meaning this unique had a higher chance of activating because you can be blocked on the side on the final corner. But since our server already has the first anniversary update where Uma spread on the final corner, the activation rate of this unique is significantly lower. Alright, from this part onward is my own thoughts for the CM. I'm just going to say it upfront, Pace Chaser will be the strongest next CM and it actually will be the meta. They simply just have access to shooting for victory, being the second best acceleration just behind angling and scheming and let's pump some iron. Another reason that pace will be the strongest is because the existence of runaway rabbit. Frontrunner was so strong in JPN Korean server simply because they could activate angling and scheming. But now, with the existence of Suzuka, you can run her simply as a blocker and shut down all these front runners, so that they would never activate angling and scheming. This also means that if you run runway blocker, you are pacing up the whole room and helping your own pace chaser. This cycles back to the case that the pace chaser will be the strongest style once again. Late surger and encloser will always be there. If you get lucky with the acceleration skill proc, then surely you can win. But at the end of the day, it is always a gamble to proc the acceleration skills at the correct timing. I think the game plan for late surger is simple. The best case scenario is you proc iron at 6th place into shooting for victory at 4th place, and you can simply just win the game. But this sometimes may be unrealistic as you may get stuck at the 6th position after proccing pump, as the final corner later half is only 10 meters away after the pump proc. There is also another scenario where your late surger get too further ahead and you only proc shooting for victory. In this case, you want to supplement your late surger still with other gambling acceleration skill like on your left as per usual. I will now discuss the recommended UMA for each style. For the frontrunners, the recommendations are kept in mind because the existence of Runway Suzuka, denying and scheming. The recommended UMA as per usual will be Summer Marasensky. There's nothing really much to explain. She has restless cold recovery skill. She has good uni on the middle leg to secure first place. Just slap in groundwork combo and angling and scheming on her and she will perform. Daiwa Scarlet is up next. Resplendent Red Ace is a good unique. If there is a runaway Suzuka, it is literally a setup for your Daiwa Rocket to win the game. That's basically the fronter that I recommend. You can also just run Saiyan Sky and hope that she magically hits the first place as soon as the last bird hit. Just note that you will have to make an insane Saiyan Sky with a stacked up middle leg skill or she will never work. As I've previously mentioned, Pace Chaser will be the meta this CM. The number one recommendation, if it's not clear, is Taiki Shadow. Really strong acceleration unique. Taiki also have head on from her secret event and also the easiest Uma to build in the Aoharu scenario. I'm also a firm believer of Agnes Tachyon. Her unique is one of the best in the game. You simply get a gold recovery and a bonus target speed. If you run her, you literally do not need to get a gold recovery skill. Agnes also has 20% speed boost, meaning it is so easy to cap her speed, and you can also even meme around and play with the Gods build on Agnes if you want to. Meisho Dodo is also really strong. I Never Give Up is a really good unique. It gives you acceleration and target speed, so you can do funny stuff like proccing shooting for victory into I Never Give Up overtake, and GG, you just straight up win the race. Obviously, there is so much good page chaser out there, but I will not list them all here. Just don't forget to get shooting for victory inherent on them, and you are already set most of the part. Late Surger is always a backup option if you want to gamble a bit with the acceleration skills. Simply, you proc the acceleration skills at the right timing. Congrats, you win. The first recommended UMA for Late Surger is Major Ryan. Let's Pump Some Iron is the best acceleration skill for this race course beside angling and scheming. Next, we have Major Dober. You can run a funny comb with Major Dober and Nice Nature and just stamina check a lot of your opponent. And on top of that, Major Dober herself has a good acceleration unique that will last a bit of a duration for this CM. Lastly, El Condor Pasa Fantasy. You can kind of see the pattern here, right? Umas that I recommend all have acceleration in their unique. This is because I believe it is how late gamblers are played anyway. El Condor Pasa Fantasy's version unique can activate on the final corner, and if it activates at the correct timing, it is really strong. Most of the time, you probably just win the race. Gold City Festival was the favorite pick for the late surgers in JP and Korean server, but we will still need to do some testing with the Uma when she is released on how reliable her unique is due to the new update. Since this race course is a medium distance racetrack, there will always be stamina debuffer due to Mystifying Murmur. Pair that with All Seeing Eye, Subdued Stamina debuff, and you have the full set. Nice Nature is the only full stamina debuffer that can be built due to having All Seeing Eye and Mystifying Murmur. You can also build a hybrid Major Dober Ace since she also have All Seeing Eye in her kit. Late Surger also has the other option of running hybrid speed debuffer that is with the Dominator debuff skill. I think speed debuffer is always more solid in general than stamina debuffers, because stamina debuffers are just noob filters for round 1 where people don't build enough stamina on their horses. The speed debuffer will be Crosswonder and Rudolph. Both of these are a solid option. You can also run them as hybrid aces since both of them are actually pretty decent aces. And Closer is always the most awkward style to run when straightaway spurt just doesn't work. You'd be better off running a late surger in every scenario, because the way you play them is literally the same with the late surger. Just get Let's Pump Some Iron, get your gambling acceleration skill, and hope for the best. And so, the recommended UMA would just be Gold Chip and Narita Taishin. I think Gold Chip is better than Narita Taishin in several aspects due to having easier career and is a free-to-play option. She also have a really good unique, a gold recovery skill, and Uma stand on her kit. Overall, the most solid free-to-play and closer. Let's take a look at the team compositions. The most sweaty and tryhard will be 2 front plus 1 pace chaser or late surger. This will be the hardest as always because of how tedious the frontrunner grind it is. The next com is probably my favorite so far, that is 1 pace, 2 hybrid speed debuff for ace. This will be Taiki Shuttle or ace of your choice, Rudolph and Grass Wonder. Nothing much to explain here, just grab Dominator on both of them and help your main ace win the race. The Stamina Debuffer Com is also another option. This is best to filter round 1 players who doesn't build enough stamina. It will be 2 ace of any style that you like and Nice Nature Debuffer. You can also even go to the extreme version of 2 Stamina Debuffer with Nice Nature and Dober for double All-Seeing Eye. Dober also work as a hybrid, so you have more chance of winning. But just know if you face a frontrunner, there will be very high chance that the all-seeing eye just completely misses. This com will probably be one of the more popular setup as well, that is 2 aces, preferably a pace chaser plus a runaway rabbit blocker. You want to have a runaway rabbit to deny angling and scheming and set up for your pace chaser unique skill or skills in general to help them win. The last setup is 3 aces setup, aka I don't care about the meta, I just throw in all my best aces and I hope that I win. With this one, you kind of just assemble the best team that you can with your horses and you hope to win. One last thing before I end this video, there is also a possibility that Christmas Ogre may or may not drop before the CM finals, and looking at how they did it for all the previous CMs, I can say that she might be dropping before the final CM. And if that scenario happens, it'll probably be over. It will be a CM. If you pull Christmas Ogre, you will win the CM type of scenario because Christmas Ogre is just that busted. Anyway, I hope you have fun in the Gold Chip Cup before we head into the Scorpio Cup. As always, thanks for watching and I'll catch you guys in the next one.